Welcome back to the channel. I hope you enjoy. Church Road. Being a rookie, you come across the usual hazing you would get from the local police, but this place I was transferred to from the city was a big change being in a small town, so it wasn't that kind of place to haze. The officers I worked with and the friends I made were all pretty laid back, and I hate to say this, but lazy and weren't really police at all. Not because of their laziness. I couldn't blame them for that. It was the fact that this town had landed in and was awfully quiet, with nothing really going on. Really nice town folk with no grudge to outsiders, welcoming with open arms, which was kind of creepy at first, but I guess I was just used to getting mean-eyed by the city people for the first 3 years of being an officer. So my first month being here didn't feel like a job at all. The usual calls would be about escaped animals from a barn or punk kids hanging around late nights getting drunk. Nothing violent at all, which was nice, but very much boring. October 31st was something I haven't experienced here in what I was told. The kids like to hang around this old road. Church Road, it was called. It was the one road that led to an old abandoned funeral home, which was basically a mansion. One road in and one road out, and not to mention the bridge that you would have to cross on to get to the funeral home. It was basically an island with rough waters that not even a canoe would get anyone near it, which was a good thing. So Halloween night, I was posted at the edge of Church Road, just at the bridge, which was surrounded by old dead trees. And yeah, it was pretty eerie since all the other trees before Church Road were covered with leaves. It was literally like a wasteland of thick blackness all the way down the road, and I could see why the young ones would hang around here for a thrill. I sat around the bridge keeping an eye open and turned away a few of the kids trying to pass by, but other than that, nothing much happening. I had begun to fall asleep in the car, which I couldn't let happen, so I decided to step out and stretch my legs and have a cigarette just to pass the time. I sat on the back trunk facing down this creepy wooden bridge and could see down the road almost clearly. A few street lamps leading to the mansion, which was barely visible with the wind howling slightly, like something straight out of a horror movie. I scoffed at the idea of something creepy happening and imagined someone walking towards me from across the bridge, and gave myself the creeps. I shook my head and flicked my cigarette, laughing off my nervousness, and turned to walk back to the driver's side door. Just as I put my hand on the handle, I took one last look through my peripheral vision and could actually see a figure walking at the end of the bridge. I quickly pulled out my flashlight inside, thinking one of the punk kids managed to get by me. I started walking towards this person as they walked closer, and I yelled out, "Come on! You can't be out here. It's not safe. Now get back to this side and get home," shining my flashlight down on the wet wooden beams below my feet and shined it up towards this person. "You mind? That's a little bright." I pointed the light downward and approached the person, and we both stopped at the middle of the bridge. "Cold night, isn't it?" the person says, and I nod my head in agreement. "Yeah, it really is, but sir, you can't be here. These premises are off limits at all times. We get too many vandals and such round this time." The person stares at me with a confused gaze. "Oh, is that right? But I live just up this road. I haven't seen any vandals around." I look at him confused myself and look around. "Sir, no one has lived around here for years, especially not at the funeral home, and I'm pretty sure that's the only place around here for miles." The man smiles and turns his head, and as I turn my head behind me, hearing another car pulling up, and I see another deputy arriving. "Can you come with me and we'll talk to my friend over here and sort this out?" The man nods his head and we both walk towards his car coming around the corner, and we stop as he stops right in front of us. I wave my flashlight as I look at him through his windshield, and he gestures me hastily and he rolls down his window. "Get in the car, now." I look at him confused. "What is it?" I turn to look at the man who walked beside me to see if he was giving a reaction, but you can guess what had happened. He was gone. I panicked and quickly got in the car, and we drove off, leaving my car behind. and I didn't bother to look back. That whole drive back to town was the scariest silence I'd ever experienced, and didn't bother to ask what just happened, because even so, I was still in disbelief about the whole thing. When we got back to the station, I went straight in and locked up my belt and such in my locker and clocked out. The deputy that picked me up sat at his desk and threw an old picture on the desk without saying a word. I leaned down and looked to see the same man who I was talking to when, well, I just couldn't comprehend the situation. The deputy looks at me with the straightest face and rests her hands on the table. "I see you met my grandfather." I looked at him and just shook my head. "I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing happened." He smirks. "My grandfather was one of the last people to own that funeral home. It was in my family for the longest time, but for some reason, people went missing on that island. Not only people, but the bodies of the dead also, so it was shut down and my grandfather apparently ever made it out himself. Something went on there, but no one really knows what happened, and no one wants to find out because they're afraid they'll go missing. So next time, maybe if you are posted or have to go there, stay off the bridge." I took a deep breath and agreed to his warnings, and it was at that moment I found out a dark history about this quiet town. Maybe that was why it was so quaint. A few times after that, I had to escort a few of the kids off the road, but I never crossed the bridge myself because of the fear of seeing that man again. Other than that, I never took the night shift at Church Road ever again. If you liked that video, then like the video. If you're going to bed soon, sweet dreams. And if you have a full day ahead of you, I hope it goes well. Thank you for taking your time to spend on watching one of my videos on my channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.